Welcome to the Inside Man podcast. I'm your host, Tim Martinez. The lesson for this episode is guilty by association. It's an age-old saying that birds of a feather flock together. My mom used to say this all the time growing up. If you run around the streets with hoodlums, well, people are going to think you're a hoodlum. And you know what? Maybe you are. If you're in a business and you work with someone who's a tyrant, well, they're going to push their tyrannical agenda and initiatives throughout the entire company. Doesn't mean you're going to be a tyrant, but the way people view the company, people will often view you through a similar lens. Sometimes you can work for a company that has different views on religion and politics and state of affairs that might be conflicting and different with your views. You may have a business partner who doesn't treat people very well. People will start to associate you with that person's behavior. Negativity has a stronger effect in many cases. You can treat people well all day long, and you should. But the second you start treating people unfair and poorly, that in many cases speaks loudly, and maybe even louder than the good acts that you do. As a business, you can operate and do business with other vendors and strategic partners whose views may differ from your own. Again, guilty by association. You know, Nike was seen this way for many years with the sweatshop labor. People protested and didn't wear their clothes. You know, that's the kind of guilt by association. What do you represent? What are you standing for? Who do you support with your money? Are you the type of business and individual who is found blameless? Is it positive to be found associated with you? Do people want to be associated with you? Is there a benefit for people doing so? Is there a prestige or a certain cachet? You can be intentional about this. You know, growing up, hanging out with people that weren't the greatest people to be hanging out with, they get into activities, they do things, you're there, you're in the car, you're at the party. Naturally, there's a guilt by association, but when you get older, a lot of times those lines get a little blurry. When you get into business, they become even blurrier. So it's important to always understand what vibe you're putting off, what you're representing, what you stand for. Make it clear and known to other people. Weed out the bad folk, the cancers of the organization, people that are pulling down the business, spreading dissension amongst the troops. It's hard. It's not always easy. And there's ebbs and flows to business and all of this. But you want to keep your hands clean. You want to be known as an organization that people want to work for. You want positive reviews. You can't control everything, but you want to make sure that you are not guilty by association with who you work with, who your partners are, and who your team is, and how they're representing you. Because it is a real thing. Your reputation, your brand, how people speak about you when you're not in the room. As a business, you have to make your own calls. I know in my businesses, if I don't have all the facts, I don't make a statement. I don't pick a side. You know, I don't listen to one news source. If I don't truly have a handle on what is going on, I just simply don't speak on the matter. If I do know what's happening, sure, absolutely. But I'm very careful and cautious with who I bring into the fold and what I speak about. You don't have to be a voice for everything. And quite frankly, you shouldn't. You should only be a voice for those things that you know and feel deeply passionate about. Otherwise, you get yourself in trouble and you become guilty by association. So again, this is business. You're here to provide a product or a service that is valuable to the market. Find a need, fill a need, create value. Anything beyond that gets murky. So be mindful and intentional with how you run your business. what you represent, what you stand for, who you bring in, and get out there and continue to provide tons of value to the marketplace. Have a great day.